and my wife. You know, the Lord knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Because I need her a lot more than she needs me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. The story we just heard from Nicole and her family is one that is on the ballot. That's the story on the ballot. And tonight we're together because you all love the Commonwealth of Virginia. That's why we're here. And as Virginians, we are coming together like never before. We have this moment, we have this defining moment right now. This defining moment is no longer encumbered or blocked by self-centered politicians who only want to take care of their own future, their own careers, and don't care about the people who sent them there. I mean, Nicole's story is moving, and by the way, it's tragic. And it's representative of what so many Virginians are standing together today for. We've got a moment where our culture has decided that we in fact have to accept. We have to accept mediocrity. We have to shelve our dreams. We have to accept low expectations. We are not going to be a commonwealth of low expectations. We're going to be a commonwealth of high expectations. So this is our moment. It's our moment to stand up as Virginians for our children, for our grandchildren, for our nieces, for our nephews, for our neighbors. This is no longer a campaign. This is a movement. It's a movement being led by Virginians. It's this movement's time. It's our time to have a Virginia that is soaring as opposed to settling, to a Virginia that, in fact, where everyone has a chance to go get that dream, that Virginia promise, that promise for a great life. That Virginia promise where our children can be raised and then they have a great life and their children have a great life. That is the Virginia promise that we all know we want, and now's the time that we get to go get it. Friends, there's 5 days left in this. 5. And over the course of the next 5 days, Virginians are going to decide. They're going to decide, are we going to, in fact, allow big government, progressive, left, liberal agenda to continue to drive Virginia into California East? No. This ballot is so clear. On one side of the ballot, it's Terry McAuliffe and big government control. On the other side of the ballot, it's Virginians. It's you. It's you. That's it. Terry McAuliffe wants to put government between parents and children. Terry McAuliffe wants to force everybody to join the union. It's not an anti-union comment. He just wants to force you to do it. Terry McAuliffe wants you to get fired from your job if you don't take the vaccine. Terry McAuliffe doesn't want you to collect unemployment when you get fired from your job. He stared at the camera and said he wanted to make your life difficult if you didn't get the vaccine. He wants to ruin your life is what he wants to do. Terry McAuliffe wants to be able to raise your taxes without you ever having anything to say about it. That is big government control. And let me tell you, folks, I stand for freedom. I stand for freedom. That's what we've got. This spirit we can all feel. This spirit it's the spirit of Washington and Jefferson and Madison and Monroe. It's the spirit of Patrick Henry. Yeah! Patrick Henry stood up and he stood in front of America, and he said, we will not ratify that Constitution written by James Madison. We will not ratify it unless it has a Bill of Rights. A Bill of Rights to protect our individual liberties and freedoms from big government. Does it sound familiar? Here we are right now. We stand on the shoulders of giants, and it is our time. It's our time to lead, not follow. It's our time to get in the arena. Democracy is not a spectator sport. We have to get in the arena, and I can't do this by myself. Winsome Sears can't do it by herself. Jason Miaris can't do it. We need you to be with us, and we have to do it now. This is I'm sleeping or not. They say, Glenn, how you sleeping? And I say, well, I'm sleeping like a baby. I wake up every 20 minutes screaming. What am I worried about? I'm worried about the future of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I'm worried about Nicole's children. I'm worried about what Terry McAuliffe, if he's elected governor, will do to permanentize California East here in Virginia, because we're going to get her back and we're going to make Virginia the best place in America to live and work. Now, all week we've been traveling around. I mean, by the way, we're on this really cool bus. I got to tell you, I didn't know what we were getting into, and I got on the bus. I said, wow, this is awesome. But the best thing about the bus is we're asking everybody to sign the bus. There's scripture on the bus. There's encouraging words. There's veterans for Youngkin. There's women for Glenn. There's Latinos written all over. Thousands of Virginians have signed that bus, and everywhere we go, you all go with us. This is the Virginia campaign bus for Virginians. And so, when we're done tonight, I want you to please sign the bus. Add your names to the thousands that are there, and you will go with us for the rest of this bus tour. And by the way, all this time, people have been saying, Glenn, this race is tight. It's tight. Well, you know, when you're driving down the highway and there's one car that's going, 45, and you're just blowing by them, there's a moment where you're tied. But it only lasts a moment. And friends, I just saw new Fox poll just came out. We are up 8. Friends, this is happening. It's happening because we're doing it. Polls don't win elections, votes do. Votes do. And so we got to go to work, because when we all go out and vote, then we are going to make Virginia what we know Virginia must be. We know we're going to make her the best state in America, and this is what we get to do. Now, I get asked all the time, Glenn, what are you going to do on that first day? That first day on January 15th, when you're inaugurated new governor of Virginia. And let me tell you, go on a walk with me, because here's where we're going. Jason Miyares as our new Attorney General. And Winston Sears as our next Lieutenant Governor. And we get to stand under Mr. Jefferson's portico in Richmond. And I'll put my hand on a Holy Bible. And I will swear to God Almighty that we will protect and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then we're going to walk down those stairs, and Paige is going to join Jason, and Terrence is going to join Winsome, and Suzanne's going to join me, and we're going to invite everybody else who wants to join us. And we're going to stop for a moment of prayer. We're going to stop for a moment. We're going to thank the Lord for providing for us, for protecting us, for putting people around us, for bringing everyone together, for defining the path that we must walk on, for giving us the words that we should speak, his heart, not ours. And then we're going to thank him. We're going to thank him, and then we're going to ask him for his provision and guidance going forward. We're going to ask for his help so that we can do the things we need to do in order to deliver on the promise of Virginia. And then we're going to say amen, and then we're going to work. That's what we're doing. And on that first day, we got to have a busy first day, folks. On that first day, we are going to cut the cost of living in Virginia. It's too expensive to live here. We're going to reduce taxes for everybody. We've seen this over the course of the last year, 2 years now. The left liberal progressives in Richmond, they've overtaxed us by $2.6 billion. And they're going to do it again this year. It's your money, not Terry McAuliffe's. It's your money. It is. Our children are moving away because it's too expensive to live here. We've got to get our cost of living down. So on day one, we're going to declare the largest tax refund in the history of Virginia. On day one. We're going to work We're gonna eliminate the grocery tax. We're gonna suspend the gas tax for 1 year. We're gonna double everybody's standard deduction. And we're going to work for our veterans. Our veterans. Friends, 1 out of 11 Virginians is a veteran. 1 out of 11 Virginians has stood in the way to protect our freedom. Freedom is not free. 1 out of 11 Virginians is here in our community, making our communities that much better. And we're one of a handful of states that taxes their retirement. That's not the way you say thank you. So we're going to work over 3 years to get up to $40,000 of our veterans' retirement benefits that we will not tax in Virginia. We're going to say thank you. All in year 1. All in. A family of 4 will save $1,400, almost $1,500 in year 1. My opponent, Terry McAuliffe, he has hundreds of pages of policy. It's going to cost Virginians $16 billion. Every one of us in a family is going to get a $5,400 tax bill. He thinks it's his money. I know it's yours. We're getting our cost of living down. We're going to cut our taxes. And we are going to make Virginia more affordable. On day 1, we are going to reestablish expectations of excellence in our schools. When my opponent was governor, 88 schools failed to reach their accreditation. Rather than do the hard work and fix them, you know what he did? He just lowered the standards so not one would fail. Not one would fail. He has been racing to the bottom ever since. Virginia ranks 50th in the nation in standards for reading and math in 8th grade, 50th. As a result, our kids are being left behind as past test scores. 55% of Virginians' white children cannot pass an 8th grade math equivalency test. 70% of Latino children, over 80% of black children. Friends, the gap in the numbers is unacceptable. The order of magnitude of them is shocking. Terry McAuliffe left us this legacy of leave every child behind, and we are not going to have it in Virginia. On day 1, let me tell you right now, I will proclaim that Virginia's schools no longer will ever be closed. Ever be closed. 5 days a week. We're going to raise expectations in our schools and then fund in the largest education budget in the history of Virginia. The largest. We're going to raise teacher salaries. We're going to fund into new facilities. We're going to fund into special education. Virginia's kids with disabilities have suffered mightily during this pandemic. And then we're going to work to provide choice within our public school system with the most aggressive charter school program you have ever seen. Virginia has 8 charter schools in the entire Commonwealth. Maryland has 140. North Carolina has 190. We have 8. So on day 1, we're going to announce 20 innovation charter schools as a down payment. We're going to close that gap over 4 years so fast. We're going to give parents choice in our public school system. So friends, we know it all starts with curriculum. That's where it starts. So let me be really clear. We will teach accelerated math in Virginia schools. We will award advanced diplomas. We will teach all history, the good and the bad. The United States of America is the greatest country on the planet. We must teach it. We must teach it, but we also have incredibly abhorrent dark chapters. We should teach those too. So everybody understands where we can't ever go again, but let me tell you, we will not teach our children to view everything through a lens of race and then pit them against one another. We know it's not right. We're all made in our Maker's image, and to pit kids against one another steals their dreams. I mean, it flies right in the face of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s most famous words, where he called us to be better than we are. To judge one another based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin. We must come together around this. This is it. This is our moment. And as part of that, friends, I just will not allow a political agenda in our schools. And so on day 1, I will ban critical race theory in our schools. enforcement. We're going to have their back because they got we're at a 20-year high in murder rate. 4 of our great cities rank in the top 65 deadliest cities in America, with Richmond at number 11, Norfolk, Hampton, Newport News. The weekend newspapers are filled with violence. Terry McAuliffe doesn't care because when he was governor, the crime rate went up 43%. The rape rate went up every year. He didn't even meet with the Police Benevolent Association. He stood them up. They represent nearly 7,000 of our heroes. That's why 50 sheriffs have endorsed us. 4 sheriffs have switched parties. They've become Republicans. So on day one, we're going to work, and let me be clear, we are going to comprehensively fund law enforcement, higher salaries, equipment, training. We're going to protect qualified immunity. We're going to fund into our mental health system. It's in a state of crisis. And finally, on day one, I will fire the entire parole board and we'll start. Friends, on day one, we got to get this economy moving. We're going to reinvigorate growth in Virginia. We've been stalled out for 8 years. Stalled out. Under Terry McAuliffe, the states around us, Maryland, North Carolina, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, they grew 120% faster economically than Virginia. 120% faster. Over the last 8 years, North Carolina created 8 times the jobs that Virginia has. Tennessee, 6 times. We just saw this recently where Ford Motor Company announced 4 new big battery plants, 11,000 jobs. 2 in Kentucky, 1 in Tennessee, 1 in Georgia, none in Virginia. Friends, in my old world, if the head of a company saw its competitors growing 120% faster and creating 8 times the jobs, you fired management. We cannot hire this guy back. We have got to get moving. So on day one, I will declare Virginia open for business. No lockdowns, no shutdowns. We're going to protect our right to work. I'll stand in front of any legislation that tries to damage it. Terry McAuliffe already committed that he will sign the bill when it comes to his desk to get rid of it. Again, this is not anti-union. This is pro-worker. I was at a plant in Lexington recently. Half union, half non-union. It works. But friends, the Virginia Economic Development Partnership tells us that if we lose right to work, it'll cost Virginia $11 billion in investment, 40,000 jobs. We cannot lose right to work. We will not lose it. But we have to get growing. We got to start growing. So on day one, we're going to cut 25% of job-killing regulations. The Virginia Code has 37,000 pages in it. How can any business comply with that? Not to mention one like Mr. Barbecue back there. How can he possibly comply with that? We're gonna give small businesses a 12-month tax holiday so you can keep your profits, invest in growth, hire more people. Now you're talking. By the way, we love dogs. Friends, we have got to get our workforce trained. We have to provide all kids in schools. We have to provide them avenues to, yes, go to college, but also to go straight to a career. We have to prepare Virginians to take jobs in a growing economy. Friends, we have to teach Virginians how to innovate again. We're ranked 49th in the nation as best place to start a business. 49th. The only place worse is Connecticut. We've been to Connecticut. We do not want to be Connecticut. So we need to have incubators and accelerators and get capital formed and cut the paperwork to start a business and help Virginia businesses grow. We have a plan to work together, and hear my words. Governors do not create jobs, businesses do. Businesses do. My job is to partner with you to make it happen. So our plan creates 400,000 new jobs, 10,000 startup new companies. We are going to get Virginia growing, and we're going to get people back to work. That's what we're doing. And finally, friends, on day one, it's going to be a busy day. But there's a day 2 and a day 3 and a day 4. But on day 1, we are going to make Virginia's government work for us and stop telling us what to do all the time. It starts with our constitutional rights. They've been violated, and we all know it. We know it. Our First Amendment right, our Second Amendment right, our 10th Amendment. My fellow Virginians, when this governor opened ABC stores and kept my church closed. I know he doesn't understand the First Amendment. And when he, in fact, allowed the FBI to come into this state and start silencing parents, he didn't understand our First Amendment. When Terry McAuliffe talks about taking guns away from law-abiding citizens and making it easier for hardened criminals to get guns, he doesn't understand the Second Amendment. And when we see Washington overreach into Virginia, they don't understand the 10th Amendment, and Jason and Winsome and I are going to go to battle for you and protect us from Washington. Virginians, this is it. 5 days. 5 days where Virginia will make a choice. Are we going to continue to veer left and become Californians? Are we heading right? This is not about a candidate. This is about you. This is about you. I'm not kidding. It is Terry McAuliffe versus Virginians. That's what's on the ballot. And I'm going to tell you, Virginians are going to win that every single day of the week. We need you now. Now's the time. I got 5 things I have to ask you for. 5. First of all, you must go vote. You got to go vote. How many people voted early? Awesome. Now, this applies to you too, but everybody, I need you to get 10 friends to go vote. 10. Now, by the way, they can't be 10 people that are here, and they have to be willing to vote for Republicans, okay? That's what they got to do. Get them out to vote. Second thing I need to ask is get a red sign and put it in your yard. Come on, Augusta County, I want to see signs all over. That is awesome. By the way, these red signs are everywhere in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's amazing to see driving around. Go to Old Town Alexandria. I did not think Republicans lived in Old Town Alexandria. And there are red signs everywhere. Third thing we need is we need volunteers. We have about 500 precincts open now to vote, and it's going to go to 2,540-ish here on Tuesday. 2,540 precincts we need to get staffed. We have a record number of people involved. We need more. This is not one of these moments where you say, well, do I have time? You need to make time. We need 2 to 4 hours from everybody in here. We'll train you to be an election observer. We need you to hand out sample ballots. We need you to knock doors. We need you to make phone calls. Friends, I said earlier, this is not a spectator sport. You've got to get in the arena with us. This is our Virginia, and we have to go get her. This is what we have to do. Fourth thing, we need you to be our ambassadors. We need you to tell your friends. I've been interviewing with 8.5 million Virginians for this job. I want you to hire me to go work for you. But I haven't got to everybody yet, so you got to tell your friends. It's very clear what we're going to do. We're going to go work for you. We're going to get our taxes down. We're going to have the best schools, the best jobs, the safest communities. We're going to have a government that works for you and doesn't tell you what to do. Spread the word. Get people out. And finally, again, I don't want to suggest where anybody is in their prayer life, but if you have a prayer list, put us on it. Now's the time. Now's the time. My fellow Virginians, here we go. We've been talking about this for a long time. 12 years since we won a statewide election. 12 years. And here we are right now, just literally at the goal line, getting ready to win this, but we got to punch through into the end zone. We got to do it together. We got to do it together. And I will tell you, on that day, on January 15th, I can't tell you how overwhelmed I'm going to feel with humility, with a sense of purpose, with privilege and honor to go work for all of you as the 74th governor of this great Commonwealth of Virginia.